Hey, now it's the Rob from 106.1 KISS FM, finally reunited with my tag team partner in podcasting.
Back again together and holding the tag ropes.
That's right.
Eric Cornish here with WKDQ with the enhancement talent. I know, ready for it. It has been an interesting week with you gone. Not a ton of stuff happening, but still at the same time, like little things happening here and there that are interesting. And one of which, of course, was the huge special on the 4th of July, live from Japan. First time ever live from Japan. 5:30 or 4:30 in the morning, I guess our time, if you got up and watched it. It was the Beast in the East.
Yeah, I wasn't up at 4:30 to watch it, but I was happy to watch it once I woke up. A few things about this show. First of all, my impression of it was largely positive. I'll get to a few things here. Here's what I liked about this show. First of all, it was like a network special as opposed to like a pay-per-view. So it had this level of importance that was greater than a Raw, but less than a pay-per-view, and that worked for me.
I will echo that by saying, remember how cool it was to have the Saturday night's main event back in the day?
Well,
right?
personally no,
but
I know what you're talking about.
That was before your time, but it used to be so cool because it was like, okay, well, it's not time for the next pay-per-view yet, but I get to watch something really neat, and it's Saturday night's main event. Well, when they brought it back, it didn't really mean anything because by that time we were already watching, the modern era Raws where all the matches were solid.
Yeah.
You didn't have a lot of enhancement matches. So you need something these days that has that kind of feel, and this had that kind of feel.
Yeah.
And I liked it. I think,
For someone in my generation, I felt it was more like an In Your House, where it was like a 2-hour show, very important. I didn't have to pay for it. I liked that. And you could watch it live. I mean, this is what the network was born to do.
Absolutely.
Give you stuff like this. And like I resented Elimination Chamber, how it was a network special, but it was 3 hours in a pay-per-view time slot. Yeah, so it didn't have a difference to me. This felt different to me, and I liked it.
It did. So, and the different venue I thought was cool. I thought the smaller venue, the different, set. I mean, everything about it felt
different.
Yeah, different, and that's really what I liked about it.
I agree. I thought that keeping in theme with the setting, like having all of the Japanese traditions, having the smaller venue, having a Japanese crowd, and the way they react differently to things, and it was just refreshing.
Yeah, the one thing I would have done differently is I might have brought in a Japanese announcer instead of having Eden do the announcing.
Makes sense.
That would have felt a little cooler.
There's one change I would have definitely made too.
Okay.
I would have definitely changed the match order. The main event felt out of place. The last match did not belong where it did.
Yes.
You can say I would have put the NXT title match last.
Yeah.
But I think it really, with the exception of the Divas, anything else would have gone better last.
Well, and for the live crowd, I mean, again, you're giving the live crowd what they want, but also the crowd at home, and it doesn't.
It was.
Flat. I guess seeing Cena out there or whatever is big for the foreign crowd, but at the same time, you had that exceptional match before.
Neville and Jericho. You had the Beast and Kofi. You had the NXT title, and then you had this tag match that didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
To me. So I would have going into it. I would have put that match in a different spot personally. I would have rather seen it start the show personally than wrap things up. I personally would have gone with the NXT title match last. You could have gone with Brock.
Yeah.
Even Neville and Jericho I think would have been better last personally.
Yeah. Now I would have put Brock last, but at the same time, yes, he was the selling point of this. But that's because he doesn't wrestle on anything other than pay-per-view, so the fact that he's there, that sells. I thought the match he was in was perfect. I mean, I had no problem with that. I know a lot of people were complaining about it, but that's perfect. I mean, have him on there, have him wrestle somebody that's of no consequence for either one of them. That Brock destroyed Kofi. That didn't hurt Kofi.
Right, exactly.
To have the rest of the New Day come out and get destroyed, that doesn't hurt them.
It may have helped them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to be in that high profile, and you've got a veteran like Kofi who can get in there with Brock and do his job and do what he's got to do, and I thought that was great. So let's talk about some of the other matches. You mentioned Neville and Jericho. Jericho hasn't been seen on TV in a match in a very long time. He's been working some live events. What did you think about that match?
I thought it was great. I like the way it built to submissions and it built to pinfalls, and it had a great story, I thought it told. And when he put that second lion tamer on, oh my goodness.
And I was surprised, to be honest with you, that Jericho won that match, but I didn't have a problem with that at all.
Agreed.
I thought the flow of the match, the way it went, was great. It made Neville look great. It made Jericho, still look great. I mean, he always does. But the fact that he put the lion tamer on, and that version of the Walls of Jericho, I thought was great.
The one we're not supposed to really see anymore,
right? Yeah.
I would have put Neville over too, but it didn't. It didn't have a negative impact on me.
Both of those guys know how to work in Japan, especially Jericho, and Jericho's done it so many times. I think I heard him saying on his podcast that was like his 43rd tour of Japan.
Yeah,
43. The guy's only 44 years old, so that's
that is quite a bit.
That's pretty cool.
I love that. I thought it was a great way to get things started.
Absolutely.
The Divas match was what it was. We talked about Brock and Kofi. We probably talked about it longer than the match actually was.
Yeah.
I like that. The only thing I think left to talk about is the NXT World Title, and those kids hit a grand slam.
That match right there is the perfect example of why. A lot of people like the Ring of Honor style and the indie style and that kind of stuff, and these guys obviously came from there. But they're always like, well, why can't WWE have matches like that? Well, they can. But there's a certain style that the WWE works. It's better for TV. It's better for announcers. It's just better overall. That doesn't mean you can't have some of the influence from the indies and Ring of Honor. And that's exactly what you saw in that match. You saw those two guys, because when it first started, I'm thinking, gosh, this is awful slow for these two guys. But then when it got going, it was like it really told a story, and it slowed down that pace that those guys would normally work in the indies to one that made sense for WWE and still got the crowd into it. I mean, I loved it.
I have to be honest, this was one of what I feel was the best performances by a heel performer in recent memory.
Unbelievable.
He never stopped being a heel, and he was awesome. I'm talking about Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
From before the match started till after the match ended, he was a heel through and through, and that's what he should be doing. He couldn't have done a much better job. Plus, I found the match to be a lot less spotty than the Cena matches.
Yeah, and I think, and definitely less spotty than a Ring of Honor style or whatever these guys are used to working. That, not in a bad way. I mean, I enjoy some of that as much as anybody, but you hear that from some of the old-timers saying, you got to slow down, and they did. They got to a slower pace, but still got in their stuff, still told a story, and just what an awesome thing for a guy who's had so much tradition in Japan. I thought the announcers did a good job of putting that over, too.
Yeah, it was a really great show. So, 2 thumbs up for me. I mean, for a network special, that was pay-per-view quality, and super happy customer right here.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought it was great. And going back to the announcers, I mean, to have Michael Cole and Byron Saxton, who are obviously sitting back in Connecticut doing the commentary for this, to be able to react to the crowd the way they did, I thought did an excellent job.
Yeah.
Also considering that it was 5:30 in the morning when they're at the studio trying to make it sound like this is, live in a big show. And I think they did a great job. And I love that they gave them that opportunity to give some of the background on a guy that if you're not watching NXT, you don't know anything about Finn Balor. And they really, I mean, they talked about his old name. They talked about, the stuff that he had won, this and the Super Juniors and all that stuff going on in Japan. So big 2 thumbs up to the announcers as well that don't get enough credit. So there you go.
Well, I'm not going to give Byron more credit than he deserves.
No,
maybe for another day.
But Cole was on it.
Cole has been doing a great job too. So yeah. So personally, I give it 2 thumbs up. Really happy with the Beast in the East. I'm excited for Raw tonight, and for myself, the Rob,
and for Eric Cornish. Still remains to be seen when Bam Bam Bigelow shows up. I'm still waiting.
Too soon.
Okay. No,
too soon.
Really? Oh, okay. Have a good one, and make sure you follow us on Twitter. Subscribe right here at the Enhancement Talent.